Welcome, Husky Building Company. How are you doing? Hey, Mr. V here, back in the classroom, getting ready to jump into our online classroom session here, talking all about drywall, our installation techniques, covering our information we need for our work order number 3 in our kitchen wall build. Okay, so just a reminder here, as you can see, the quote is up on the screen. In our classroom, what we're doing here is we're gaining the head knowledge that makes the hand skills possible out in the shop. So this session is super important to be able to get the details of what I'm going to be actually doing hands-on with you out in the shop. So let's pay attention and let's learn some good tips and really know how to put this drywall in with professional techniques. Okay, so in this session, let's just go through the outline so we know where we're heading. First section we're going to look at is talking about driving the actual drywall screws like a pro. And so this process, we can use different tools, a lot of different ways to put drywall on the wall, but I want to share with you 35 years of my experience getting this thing done like a professional. The second section, we're going to look at what it takes to do the layout work and then to cut out the location boxes for the actual junction boxes that we're putting in the wall. Now, we're going to be using a jig that we developed last year that really helps the process as level 1 trade professionals here, right? So definition of a jig, remember, something that we can use that repeats a simple process, makes it so it's accurate, and that it speeds up or makes it quicker in the process. So this little jig is going to really help us with that process. Before we get started, let's do a little review. All right, so let's take a look at these tools here on the left-hand side of the screen and just make sure we know what they are and why we're using them here. Okay, the first two, no surprise. Number 1 is our construction measuring tape. Number 2 is the pencil that we need to be able to use to mark accurately. Number 3 is our utility knife that we use to cut large pieces of our drywall. We're not actually going to be using that in this process when we're actually laying out and cutting the junction boxes out. I'll share a new tool with you. Super excited about that. Number 4 is our T-square. And of course, number 5 is what we're going to be looking at today, which is the dimpling tool that goes on the end of our extension for our drill driver. And that will give us exactly what we need to get things done like a professional. All right, so let's take a look. Driving the drywall screws like a pro. Okay, so you can see there on the left, we've got the correct setup or correctly set dimpling process. And so just kind of get that picture in your mind so that we know that is what we're looking for every single time we drive a screw into our drywall. Okay, so that is in fact one of the most important parts of this process of putting the screws in the drywall is to let it be recessed below the finished surface of the drywall. So the head of the screw needs to be below the finished surface, and there's a big why. Why do you think that's important? Right? Well, let's take a look. If we look down here at the side view, here's what happens to us. We want to make sure that we're able to cover the head of that screw with the joint compound, aka mud. So from this point forward, if you hear me say mud, what we're talking about is a drywall compound that is known as joint compound, and it is what we use to cover the head of the screws, and also we use it for seaming, we use it for texture. It's an incredible piece of material, but aka otherwise known as mud, is to make sure that we get that, again, covered so that it is not sitting proud of the surface of our drywall. Okay, definition for proud means it's standing above the actual finished surface, and in our case, it will cause us terrific grief as we're moving down. So let's take a little closer look here. Okay, from the side view, this is the side view of our drywall. You can see right there that we've got the finished surface is the top black line. We've got an area where it's been dimpled or recessed downward. Okay, so when you hear the word dimple, that's what it looks like from the side view. Then we're going to add the drywall screw, which is going through the entire surface of the gypsum board and into our studs behind. And then here's where it becomes super important. We're going to fill the distance between the dimple and the bottom tray and the top surface so that when we are done, we can texture our finished surface and paint it And the idea here is to not see any of the drywall screws at all, totally disguised underneath. And that is why it is mission critical to have that drywall screw reduced and dimpled down into our surface. Super important. There's question number 1 for you and the why. All right, let's move on and take a look at the next slide. All right, here we go. Let's take a look here. In the 1.3, we're going to be using the dimpling bit. Okay, dimpling bit. It adds in, and it is a separate tool in the drill driver mode that will automatically set the screw and make the dimple. So here's where it really, again, using the proper tools allows us to get all of that function done very quickly and accurately each time. And so using this, super important here in the drill mode. Okay, so we're going to pick up our driver. Remember, it's a 3-in-1 tool, and we're going to set it in the drill mode. Now, why is that important to set it in the drill mode? There's question number 2. Okay, well, we're going to answer that question. You're going to have those opportunities, but here's what we want to be able to do. In the operation of that tool, there's the technique, okay, that we're going to be using. And when we're, again, putting heavy pressure on the backside of our driving tool, we're going to be pushing that screw down and into our gypsum board, into our stud behind it. And what we're going to want to hear is this spinning clicking sound, which is the bit against the screw head, and then it releases and it stops driving that screw at the perfect depth in our drywall. So that is the super important why reason. If we go too deep and we break through the actual paper surface of our drywall, we're going to be losing the structural integrity of that fastener. All of a sudden, it's not going to hold it onto the ceiling or onto the wall as well. What our job is as installers is to make sure that drywall is secure and that it's safe and that it is attached properly. So we've got to use the right tools, okay? So that screw head is sitting proud of the surface. As you can see here in the picture, no good. We don't want that. If it's sitting too deep and it's torn through the paper on the front side, we don't want that either, okay? So it's that perfect medium spot right there, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you in the live teaching segment out in the shop, but I wanted to show you up close and personal what that was all about and why operating this tool with the proper technique is something we're going to have to practice, okay? Not easy to do. I've done thousands of these things, but I want you guys to be able to practice and understand what it looks like and what we're looking for there, okay? All right, so let's take a look at section number 2 here, or step number 2. Super important, okay? Let's get this note. We will be locating the top left corner of each J-box on our drywall, which will line up with our cutout jigs. Okay, so you can see there in the picture on the left-hand side, we're going to be marking the top left corner of our J-box. That is going to line up with the top left corner of our jig. You put the two together, bada bang, we've got ourselves a really accurate system of laying out and marking these junction boxes. We've got a jig for the 2-gang box, and we've got a jig for a single or a 1-gang box, and that is what we're going to need to complete our projects. Okay. Now, question number 3, super important. What happens in this picture? Okay. What is the problem with this deal right here? Okay, you can see the top edge of that drywall. It's kind of bulging out. You can see a tear there on the right-hand side. That's where the actual gypsum board has broke because we forced that piece of drywall into place, okay, making it too tight, forced it. All of a sudden, bam, it breaks on us and we're starting over. It's really difficult to patch and repair certain types of breaks in drywall. And so most of the time, if we break that piece, we won't have any choice but to start over and begin to cut a new piece. So we're going to try to avoid that as much as possible. And that is why we're going to be using this cutout jig. If you remember, the definition of any kind of jig in the construction process is to say, take something that's complicated or difficult to do and give us the most accurate and quickest way to achieve a professional result. That's why we took a little time to make these jigs. Okay, so let's take a look at the layout process. That means we're going to be marking our drywall piece where the actual edges of our J boxes are going to be. Okay, so here's step 2.2. We're going to measure from the closest outside edge of the drywall to the top left outside edge of the J box. So let's take a look. There is the left-hand top side of the junction box, and super important, big bold red letters, we're going to subtract 1/8 of an inch from that physical edge of the J box, which is going to create that margin or that area that allows us so that we don't crack or break our drywall. So we're going to measure the accurate, and then we're going to measure back 1/8 of an inch. That's going to give us the breathing room we need. Okay, so then 2.3, we're going to make a small mark that's going to indicate this left side of the cutout. So you can see there in that smaller holdout picture, we're going to make a little vertical line at the 3-inch mark, because 3 1/8 minus 1/8 puts us right at 3 inches. Okay. Next, 2.4, we're going to repeat this same steps, 2.2 and 2.3, for the top edge of our J box. So we just have to locate two things, left side, top side, to get that top left corner spot. And that is what we're going to do here. All right. So you can see how I've measured down to the top edge of the J box. We're going to subtract that 1/8 of an inch, and that is where we're going to mark it to get it ready to go. All right, so let's take a look. Once we've got that, step 2.5, we're going to be using either a speed square or our T-square, right, to draw a 4-inch line through both of our marks, both the horizontal and the vertical mark. So once we've got those two lines indicated, now all of a sudden we've got X marks the spot. All right, so we're going to align then the top left corner of our jig to the marked lines, and then we're going to trace all the way around that jig. All right, so all of a sudden there's our top left corner we've marked out on the drywall. We're going to add to that our cool little jig. We hold it in place, we trace it. All of a sudden we've got everything we need to begin the last step. 2.7, we're going to cut that drywall out using an oscillating saw. All right, I'm going to show you what that's all about, but this is a great tool. It's fairly safe. It does a beautiful job in regards to cutting out precisely. And if we did the layout properly, all we got to do is cut those 3 pieces out, and we are going to be in great shape to make that fit. All right, well, that's enough of the classroom being in here. We're going to now move out into the shop, and we're going to see if our head knowledge can transfer into our hand skills and make this cutout possible. All right, you guys, we'll see you in the shop. Take care.